So good morning. So in the previous sessions, we have seen the syntaxes and the small programs on basic Java programs. So let us check the control statements. So we have three types of control statements available in any programming language. First one is selection statements. Second one is iterative statements. Third one is jumping statements. So first one, selection statement. So selection statements means you have options. We have options to select among the options. Suppose if you have the 5 options, multiple choice questions, we have 4 options. We have to choose the either A or B or C or D. We have to choose either one option. That means while executing the program, we can get the 4 options. Whether the control has the compiler has to execute option A, option B, option C, option D. So if you have the choices, we have to select them. So that type of statements are known as selection statements. We have two variations in the selection statements. First one, if statements, and then switch statement. So in the previous versions of Java SE8, SE9, SE10, before the Java versions, there are some variations in the if statements. So in the previous class, we have seen the one example. So we don't get the output. Nested if statements, we don't get the output. But the latest version, that is Java SE 16, I think. Latest release, the textbook, Java one step ahead. The programs are based on the latest version of Java. That means after the Java SE 10. So we have some little bit variations in the syntaxes of the if statements. So generally we can categorize them as like this. Suppose let us try here. Suppose if x less than 20, so this is the simple if statement. We can have so many variations in this if statements. If this condition is true, the control has to print this statement. Else control has to print another statement. This is the simple if else statements. So in these if else statements, we have nested if statements. So nested if. So in the latest version of Java compilers, the else statement is optional. Else is optional. If you keep the else block, or you may not keep the else block. That is optional. So without else also we can have the nested if statement. So in general, nested if statements means, so in the if condition, so this is the if condition. So in this if condition, we have another if. That is, we have another if statement. We have another if statement. We have some block, and then so corresponding to this if, we have another else, some block. So then main if. So main if closed. So main if closed. So this is the general nested if statements. So we can have, do you understand this? So this is the nested if statements. Within the if, we have another if statements. So main else, this is the main else. So this is the main else statement. So if this condition is true, the control goes to this if statement. Else this statement. So in this latest version of Java, the else statement is not needed. Else is not required, optional. So we can have the nested if statements with the if block itself. We don't need else. So that's why in the previous class example, we don't get the output. Some errors has occurred. So when I try to compile in the latest version of Java, the program has compiled. So let us check this one. So let us check this program. So let us check this. So we have a main class. So we have a main method. And then I am initializing the x value to 395. I'm writing the if condition. If x modulo 2 is equal to 0, then print this statement. Else, so we have another variations in the if statement, that is else if ladder. So in the C programming, we can call it as else if ladder. So in Java, we can call it as else if change. Else if change. So if this condition is true, this statement will be executed. Else if this statement will be executed. Else, so this is the main thing. So else if change. So all the statements are with else if, but last statement will be else. So if we have to write the else if statement whenever we have the condition. Whenever we have the condition, we have to write the else if. So if we don't have any condition, means we can write the else. We can write the else. So else block has no condition. Else block has no condition here. Condition to check. So if block only has condition to check. So else if means there should be condition. So for this else, we don't have any condition. That means last else statement doesn't have any condition. So if all the conditions are went wrong, then else will be executed. So else if must have block condition, else doesn't have block. So this is the else if chain. So let us make it as nested if. So nested if means this. So this is the if block. So this is the if block. This is the else block. If block is closed, main is closed, else is closed. So here we are going to illustrate the nested if statement. So this is the if condition. So this is the if condition. So in this if, we have the another if condition, another if else block. So within the if block, we have another if else block, another if else block. So this type of statements are known as nested if statements, nested if else statements. So within the if, we have another if. So then this is the main if block. So this is the main if block. So if this condition is true, this block will be executed. If this condition fails, so else block will be executed. Else block will be executed. So this is the main variations in the if statement. General we have if else, then nested if else if ladder. That means else if chains. So let us compile this. So program name is VGM. Let us save this first. CD space desktop CD space Java C. Program name is VGN.java. So no errors. Java space class name VGN odd number. Odd number. This is the output. 395 is an odd number. So let us modify this as 394. Let us modify this as 394 and compile. So let us check the output. Compilation, no error. Execution, we have the inner if statement also printed. So this is the factor of 2 and the factor of 4. Factor of 2 and not a factor of 4. If this condition is true, then this block will be executed. This is the factor of 2 that is printed. Then again we are checking the condition. X modulo 4 is equal to 0. If it is true, then this statement will be executed. If it is not true, this statement will be executed. Not a factor of 4. 394 is not a factor of 4. So this is how we can execute the simple if-else statements. Next one, we'll go to the switch statements. So if లో వేరియేషన్స్ అర్థమైనాయా? ఇఫ్ లో మనం యూజ్ చేసిన కంపైలర్ బట్టి ఆ వేరియేషన్స్ ఉంటాయి. లేటెస్ట్ వర్షన్ అయితే ఎల్స్ బ్లాక్ లేకుండానే ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ అవుతాయి నెస్టెడ్ ఇఫ్ స్టేట్మెంట్స్. బట్ ప్రీవియస్ వర్షన్స్ మీరు ప్రీవియస్ కంపైలర్స్ యూజ్ చేస్తుంటే ఖచ్చితంగా మన సి ప్రోగ్రామింగ్లో ఫాలో అయినవి ఫాలో అవుతాం. బట్ లేటెస్ట్ వర్షన్స్లో అయితే మనకి ఎల్స్ బ్లాక్ లేకుండా అయినా సరే నెస్టెడ్ ఇఫ్ ఎల్స్ స్టేట్మెంట్స్ని రన్ అవుతాయి. ఆ సపోర్ట్ అనేది జావాకు ఉంది. So this is about the if-else statements. So let us start the switch cases. So when you have to use the if statements, when we have to use the switch statement. If you have only less number of options, that is either option A, option B, option C, option 4. That means if this condition is true, the statement has to be executed. Else another statement will be executed. So if we have only 2 options, then we will choose the if statements. We have multiple options, then we have to go for the switch statement. So that is the main difference between if statements as well as switch statement. So if you are going to select the statements among the 2 options, then we will opt the if statements. So if you have the more options, we have the n number of options, then we will go for the switch statements. Let us check the examples. So let us see first the if else. So this is very similar. Then Java switch statement. So let us see the syntax. So this is the syntax of switch. So switch is a keyword. Switch is a keyword. So within the braces we will have some expression or a variable. It may be an expression or it may be some variable also. So expression means x less than y. Variable means x. So we can have anything. The expression may be a variable or may be a condition. Then we have the case values. So case is a keyword. Case x, case y, case z, like that. Case 1, case 2, case 3, like that. Or else we can have case 0, case 1. So in the nested switch statements, we can use the case 0, case 1. So if the expressions, if the expression returns the value x, then x block will be executed. So if the expression, that means if the within the switch expression returns the value y, then y block will be executed. So if this switch expression will return the no either x or y, then the default block will be executed. So for every switch statement, we have some default block. So if we don't get the any case, then default value will be executed. Then each case has to be ended with the break. So each case has to be ended with the break. That means, so jump statement. So this break is a jump statement. So break means exit from that block. So case is a one block. That means, let us see this. So this case, like case x. So case x is a one block. Case y is a one block. Default is a another block. We have three blocks. So if you want to switch between the blocks, if you want to exit from this block, we need a jumping statement. We have to jump the control from one block to other block. So this can be achieved by using the keyword break. By using the keyword break, we can exit from this block. Then the control moves to case y. After execution of case y, we write the break. To exit from this y block, we have to write the break. So the main purpose of using this break is to exit from this block. To exit from this block and execute the next statement. That is the purpose of using the keyword break. So here three keywords are used: switch, case, break. So here we can write the logic or any printf, println statements. So this is the basic syntax of switch statements. So let us see one program. Suppose days, we have to, if you want to print the date, suppose here day value is assigned as 4. Here day value is given as 4. That means fourth day has to be displayed. So here I am passing the expression as day. I am passing the variable as day. So case 1, case is ended with the semicolon. Then it is printing the system.out.println Monday. Then break means the cursor has to go to the case 2. If you use the break, cursor goes to break case 2. So if you don't use the break, means remaining cases will not be executed. If you don't use the break here, the remaining statements will not be executed. Only first condition will be checked. First case will be executed. So remaining cases will not be executed. That is the main use of break. Then case 2, Tuesday, case 3, case 4, case 5, case 6. So the output is case 4. The day value is 4. That means case 4. The day value is 4. So 4 means the control has to print the fourth statement. That is Thursday. So Thursday will be the output. Thursday will be the output. So this is how we can implement the switch cases. So here we have so many number of cases. Here we have 7 choices. So we have 7 choices. We have 7 choices here. So we can write the if else statement also, else if ladder. If this day is equal to 1, then print the Monday. If day is equal to 2, print the Tuesday. Else if, like that also we can write. So this is the main effective way of writing the any programming language. So if we have more options, means we have to opt the switch case. So it leads to the performance also. So this is the main thing in switch cases. So let us so can anyone answer this? So this is an exercise. So let us check the numbers. 204. 204 ఉన్నావా? 7. 22. 32. So no one is responding. Okay, fine. So it's up to you. So this is all about the switch cases. We have nested switch cases also. So the switch within the switch, we have another switch case. So that is also possible in Java. In Java, C language also support the nested switch statements. So this is all about the selection statement. That means you have to select the one statement among the available options. Available options, we have to choose the one option. We have to select the one statement. So if we can use the if variations as well as switch variations. Then let us move to the iterative statements. So selection statement means you have to select the one statement among the 4 options. So iterative statements means the control has to iterate. That means the control has to repeat the execution per number of times. So if the name has to be printed 5 times, means 5 times the same thing has to be repeated. The same thing has to be repeated n number of times. Then that type of statements are called iterative statements. So iterative statements are iterative statements can be implemented by using the some construct, that is for loop, for construct, while loop, do while loop, and then for each loop. So in Java, the special feature is for each loop. So for each loop can be used in the different conditions. In mostly in arrays and collections, we can use the for each statements. Mostly in arrays, we can use the for each statements widely. Then while loops, for do while loops, for loop. So same syntax will be followed in Java also. So same programs will be okay. సో ఇవాళ 208 లేడా? ఉన్నాడు. 74 ఎవరు? అక్షయ్. ఓకే. సో నేను చెప్పేది ఎవరికైనా అర్థమైతే కొంచెం రెస్పాండ్ అవ్వండి. మీకు ఇది వినకపోతే మీకు రేపు జాబ్ ఇంటర్వ్యూకి వెళ్ళినప్పుడు అక్కడ వాళ్ళు ఆన్సర్ చేయకపోతే అప్పుడు తెలుస్తుంది. అప్పుడు నేను గుర్తొస్తాను. జావాని లైట్ తీసుకోవద్దని చెప్తున్నాను. జావా వస్తేనే ఏ ప్రోగ్రామింగ్ లాంగ్వేజ్ అయినా వస్తుంది. సో జావా ఈ బేసిక్ కాన్సెప్ట్స్ ఇవన్నీ తెలిస్తే మీరు ఆ ప్రోగ్రామింగ్ని ఎక్కడ దాకైనా సరే ఎక్స్టెండ్ చేసుకోవచ్చు మీరు. ఇంట్రెస్ట్ ఉన్న వాళ్ళన నేర్చుకోండి. సో నెక్స్ట్ ఈ లూపింగ్ కన్స్ట్రక్ట్స్ ఇవన్నీ మీకు తెలిసినవే. నెక్స్ట్ కంటిన్యూ బ్రేక్ ఎక్కడ యూస్ చేస్తామో చూడండి. సపోజ్ So let us see one example to illustrate the continue statement as well as break statement. So we రెండింటికి difference తెలిసి ఉండాలి. So let us write some program. Class, I'm defining the class. The class name is, let us take the class name as loop 1. So main method, I'm defining the main method, public static void main. సో ఇక్కడ స్ట్రింగ్స్ లో ఎస్ క్యాపిటల్, ఎందుకంటే ఎస్ స్ట్రింగ్ అనేది క్లాస్. స్ట్రింగ్ args arguments, then we have to define the some methods. So let us take an example in I. Let us define I. I'm writing for loop for I is equal to 0, I less than 5, I plus plus. Let us print system dot out dot println. Let us print the I value. Let us print the I value. So this is my, I have closed the main method, then main class. So this is the simple program to print I value 5 times. 5 times means 4 times. So let us check the output here. Let us save this program. The program name is loop1.java. So let us loop1.java save. So this is a simple program. Let us check the output. Java C space class name is loop1.java. So there is no errors. Java C loop1 class name is loop1. Let us execute this. So there is some runtime error. Class names loop1 are only accepted if annotation processing is explicitly requested.
Java loop 1 and Java loop.
Okay. Java C and Java loop 1. So let us see, check this output. So I value is 0, then we are printing the I value. 1, we are printing the. So I less than 5 means 4. The value 4 is printed. So let us use the continue statement here. Let us check this one. I am using here if I value is equal to 3. If I value is equal to 3, then continue. If I value is equal to 3, continue. So let us see what happens. If I value is equal to 3, continue. I am using the jumping statement continue. So the main purpose of continue is, so you will see the output, you will get it. So let me save this. Then I'm compiling. So no errors. Java loop 1. So only 5 is printed. Only 5 is printed. So this is not the correct output. So let us change the program. That means 3 has to be skipped. So the output will be, this 3 will not be there in the output. 3 will not be there. So if I write the I is equal to 3 continue means the control has to move here again. The 3 value is not printed. I is equal to 3 means this value should not be there. Only 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 4 will be printed. So let us 0, 1, 2, 4 has to be printed. 3 has to be skipped. So this is the main advantage of continue. So here the program has to be modified. Let us modify this. So take a block for loop. So this is the for block. So within the for, if I is equal to 3 continue. So let us check what happens. So this is the output. So this is the correct output. So if you give the if condition and continue statement, so this is not treating as a one. This is not treating as one block. So I have used the parenthesis. So I am taking this as one for block. Then we are getting the correct output. For I is equal to 0, the value is printed. The I is equal to 1, value is printed. I is equal to 2, the value is printed. At the time of I is equal to 3, then the next statement will be this one, if statement. So here the condition is checked. I is equal to 3. So the condition is true. Then next statement, if block will be executed, continue. So continue means if block will be executed. So continue means the cursor has to move to this one. Again, starting of the block. The continue means the next print statement will not be executed. So if continue means it is skipped and goes to the starting of the statement. So this is the main purpose of continue. Main purpose of continue. So let us make it as break. What happens? Let us see. So if I make it as break means what will be the output? Let us see. Java C. Yes, 3 will not be printed. Only 0, 1, 2 will be printed. So why? Because let us check this. So for I is equal to 0, for I is equal to 0, if the if condition is checked, I value is 0, no, this will not be printed. The break if block will not be executed. Then system.out.println will be executed. So I value is 0, printed. Okay. Next I is equal to 1. Not this condition is failed. So this block will not be executed unless and until if the condition is true, then only this block will be executed. So I is equal to 1, it is not true, then this will be executed. I is equal to 1, printed. Next I value 2, not condition is not true, so I value will be printed 2. Then I value is equal to 3, so the condition is true here. For 3, for the value of 3, the condition is true. So the condition is true means break. That means the control has to exit from this block. the control has to exit from this block. So this block is this one, for block. Block is this one, for block. The control will exit from the for block, from the for loop. Continue means it will goes to the starting of the loop. Break means it will exit from that loop. It will exit from the loop. Continue means the cursor goes to the starting of the loop. Break means it will exit from that loop. So this is the main advantages of using the continue as well as break statements. So these are very, very needed. So this is all about the control statements and then jump statements. So then we have the, let us see the for each loop. For each loop also. In the arrays, we can see the for each loop. So here also let us make this. So for each loop is very, very important. So it has some advantages as well as the disadvantages. So only forward looping can be done. Only plus plus in I plus plus can be only done. So let us take one example. Class. Let us make it as demo. Class name is demo. So let us define the public static void main string, passing the array of string args. This is the main method I am defining. So let us define an array of type int. Array can be int a. We have to define the array with braces. Okay, is equal to. I am going to assign the values. Okay. How can you assign this 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 55, 68. So this is how I have initialized the array. So this array can be printed by using the for loop. How can you initialize this? For int I is equal to 0, I less than so how many times loop has to be executed? Loop has to be repeated. We have to count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. So at the programmer level, we don't count the numbers. If you have the big array means, if you start counting means it will take some time. So there is a predefined method for calculating the length of an array. So length of an array can be calculated by using the array name dot length, length, array name dot length. So let us check this will work out or not. Array dot length, then I plus plus. So let us print system dot out dot println I, closing the main function main method. So this is the demo. So this is the simple for loop. Let us execute this one. Java C demo dot Java. So program is executed. Java demo. So the program is executed. So 0 to 5. So we are printing the I value here. We have to print the array. We have to print the array value, not I value. We have to print the array value. So let us check how many times the loop is repeated. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. The length is 6 here. That means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 times the loop is repeated. So here we have to change. We have to print the array values. Array value is a of I. A of I. So array values can be printed by using the array name with index value I. For I is equal to 0, a of 0 will be printed. I is equal to 1, a of 1 will be printed. A of I is equal to 2, a of 2 will be printed. So like that, we have the procedure. Let us check Java C demo, Java demo. So the values are printed 10, 20, 30, 40, 55, 68. So the values are printed here. So this is how we can use the for loop. So the advantage of for each loop is, let us check. Let us write the same program in for each loop. Same program for each loop. Let us see. Let us comment this one. For the syntax of for each loop is for int, suppose take the value of x. Then we have to give the array name. So here array name is A. Array name is A. That's it. That's it. And we have to print the, here no I value. We have to print the x value. We have to print the x value. So this is the syntax of for each loop. Let us check this will work out or not. Java C demo. Java demo. So let us see. The output is printed. So let us see the syntaxes for these both for loop and for each loop. So for loop syntax is this one. For each loop syntax is simple. Within the two variables, the output is achieved. For this, we are going to calculate the length also. We are using the another method, length. We are using the another method, length. Then we are printing the array. So that is some laborious process. So by using the for each loop, we can implement this very easily. That means for each value of the for each loop, the meaning is for each value of an array A. That means for each value of an array A, the values are printed and printed with the variable x. For each value of array A, for each value of array A, the values are printed with the help of the variable x. So all values are printed. X of 0, x of 1, x of 2. So that we cannot give the explicitly. For arrays, a of 0, a of 1, a of 2, like that we can print. So for, if you use the for each loop, we don't need the a of I. Subscripting will not be there. So simply we can print this x. We can print the x1, x2. X means first iteration, first value will be printed. Second iteration, x means 20 will be printed. Third iteration, x means 30 will be printed. So like that we can have simple syntax for each loop. So to print the collection, to print the group of elements, we will use the for each loop. So to print or to execute the group of statements, simply we can use the for each loop. So there is no initialization, there is no termination condition. So there is no increment or decrement. Initialization, increment or decrement, termination condition, nothing will be there. Simply for each element of the array, we are printing. For each element of the array, the elements are printed. That means for I is equal to 0, I is equal to 1, only forward increment will be there. In for each loop, we have only forward increment. I plus plus will be there. I minus minus is not supported by for each loop. That means we are not giving the conditions. I is equal to 0, I less than 10, I plus plus. We are not giving that conditions. So simply we are passing the some array. We are printing the some array. We are not giving anything. So that's why only forward implementation is possible in for each loop. So this is the main advantage of for each loop. So this can be described in much in arrays. So this is all about the control statements. If statements, switch statements, looping constructs, and then continue and break usage. So this is all about the control statements. So in ఇది 10:30కి క్లాసెస్ స్టార్ట్ చేద్దాం. క్లాసెస్, ఆబ్జెక్ట్స్, మెథడ్స్. So this is the basics of Java. So next object oriented concept స్టార్ట్ అవుతుంది. సో థర్డ్ అవర్ కూడా నేనే తీసుకుంటున్నాను. సో థర్డ్ అవర్ క్లాసెస్ ఆబ్జెక్ట్స్ స్టార్ట్ చేద్దాం. సో ఏమైనా డౌట్స్ ఉన్నాయా? సో డౌట్స్ ఉంటే అడగండి. సో ఓకే, థ్యాంక్ యూ దెన్, బాయ్.